Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Your favorite host right here, Stephen A1181. I'm just kind of probably going to kill a few minutes while Greg hops on here. Just sent him a couple invites, so hopefully he'll be showing up here soonish. What a week in wrestling. We had Raw on Monday night. We had NXT Tuesday night. We got Dynamite tonight. So AEW's Dynamite will be tonight. And then Friday we had the whole, competition night. So we had AEW putting on like a pre-show at 9, kind of go against what the second hour of WWE Smackdown. Then also we had an overrun. So we had 10 to 10:30. We had Rampage and we had SmackDown going on. So we had SmackDown on FS1, and they got an extra half hour. And then you had AEW Rampage going live at 10 o'clock. So once Greg hops on here, kind of get his thoughts on that and, healthy competition, as it were. I did not get to catch Rampage yet, get caught up on SmackDown, and going to catch up on Dynamite tonight. Kind of throws your viewing off when the scheduling gets changed. But last night, Fox, the main Fox station, had baseball on. So WWE SmackDown got pushed to FS1. And then we had the NHL, I believe, on Wednesday night on TNT, which was different. I never realized that the NHL would be on TNT. So there we go. Greg is here now. Let's bring him on, and we'll kind of start there with the whole competition of Friday night and see what his thoughts were on it. Good afternoon, Greg. Glad to be here, or glad to have you here. And I'm sure you're glad to be here.
Good afternoon, Stephen. Everything is good, man. I decided to talk about what's been going on lately. And where are we starting?
I was just starting off with last night. I did not catch Rampage because I'm just weird about scheduling. I'd rather watch Dynamite first and then Rampage, but whatever. So, but I was bringing up the whole idea of the healthy competition. So we had 10 to 10:30, where both shows were on broadcast TV, essentially at the same time, and commercial free. So, well, at least SmackDown was. I don't know if Rampage was, but it might have been as well. So, Greg, what do you think about the whole healthy competition thing? And Tony Khan had a lot to say this week, it sounded like. So, what do you think about the whole competition thing for SmackDown and Rampage and all that good stuff?
Yeah, I saw a lot about that. That Tony Khan was coming out and kind of puffing out his chest, and we're going, head to head with SmackDown, the big dog on Friday nights. Uh, it's an interesting play, and they really want to see where they stack up with the big dogs. They haven't really ran head to head against WWE's two big shows. To say you got to win over NXT is a start, but
Yeah.
it's still a level down from we're on SmackDown. So um, I like what they're doing. Also, it's a interesting play on WWE's part to make SmackDown an extra half hour commercial free to run in direct opposition to the beginning of Rampage. And this way, when the ratings come out, you see those SmackDown ratings are higher. They can say, see, you're still second best. And so it's a win for AEW also because you have WWE acknowledging you to steal Roman Reigns' tagline. Vince has been steadfast in denying AEW's existence pretty much, aside from a handful of lines. But by doing this, by making SmackDown an extra half hour longer just to stick it to AEW, you're acknowledging their existence. You're acknowledging that this is a brand that can impose you. This is WCW 2.0. And, if you don't watch it, you can end up losing to WCW 2.0 because this incarnation is a whole lot better, a whole lot stronger than WCW ever was.
Yeah. And you wonder if this time next year, if Rampage will move up into that time slot of 8 to 10 or something, or like the TBS show, where will that move? Even though I joke, I'm like, I would love to see it 6:05 on TBS, our old, I was a big WCW guy, Greg, but I know WCW Saturday night was always 6:05 on Saturday nights. So that'd be kind of a nice homage if they did that, on Saturday night. Give us another night of wrestling to watch. So, yeah. And then, like I said, Dynamite got moved to today or tonight because the NHL was on TNT. So I was kind of surprised, Greg. NHL and NBA is on TNT now. I did not know the NHL was moving to TNT, but I guess they were. So did you know about the NHL kind of moving to TNT and wherever else? I'm guessing NBC. Does NBC still do NHL stuff? I don't know because I don't really follow hockey as I should. And I don't think you do.
I don't either.
Do you?
Okay.
Don't
pay any attention to hockey
for you, but yeah. Okay. Well, there we go. Anyways, and I even thought USA is going to have hockey because of NBC. So who knows if Raw could get moved. But right there, we'll just use that as my transition. Let's go to Raw. We started the night with Xavier Woods defeating Ricochet. Really solid match. And then also, Greg, I'll bring up the other match where it was Kofi Kingston and Jinder Mahal. And, of course, we all assumed, it's just going to be Kofi rolling or Kofi getting a win. So we get Kofi and Xavier Woods. But no, Jinder Mahal pulls off the upset, I'll call it. So we have Xavier Woods, Jinder Mahal set for the King of the Ring semifinals. And we also have Finn Balor. And now I can't remember who's the other side.
The match they just had, or he's going up against?
Oh no, Finn won last night because Finn beat Sami Zayn.
Yeah,
never mind. Okay. So we have Finn Balor on one side, but we still have to figure out Jinder Mahal, Xavier Woods. So, Greg, what about the two King of the Ring matches from Monday night? I actually thought both of them were pretty solid. Xavier Woods continues to impress me, with his single stuff. I mean, obviously he's been working a little extra, and I always thought he'd be the guy that get pushed aside, but now it's like I feel like all three of the New Day are really wrestling wise probably about the same level. I don't know if you could really put one or the other above them. So it's really cool to see that, and I still keep backtracking. Like, how long now? New Day's this is year 7 or 6 now.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's. Talk about, you might as well just go 3 more years and we can have our first ever decade-long, faction possibly. So, because we think NWO ran hot for 2 or 3 years. DX, I guess DX is kind of the weird one where they were really strong and then came back with, Shawn Michaels and whatnot, or Shawn Michaels and Triple H. You have Evolution who ran, 2 years, but the Shield had a strong 5 years. So now New Day, man, it's just crazy. But anyways, the two King of the Ring matches, Greg, what'd you think of them?
I agree. They're both strong matches. And I like the red herring they were throwing out with the announcer backstage trying to stir the pot. What happens if Kofi and Woods end up winning their matches and having to face each other? I was rooting for that to happen, actually. And I'm a huge New Day fan. Have been since day one. And it would have been a great match, number one. Number two, the storyline with them two is ready made and ready to go. Plus, how does the match go? But we don't get that. So I was surprised that the Kofi match turned out the way it did. Even with the interference that Jinder ended up getting the win. And this sets up Woods, who's been barking very loudly to get that King's crown, and Jinder to come back as a top level player and be king himself. It's lending itself to a great match just because even with this matchup, it presents some great storylines with Woods, and like I said, his very impressive singles run. That Hell in a Cell match he had with Lashley was awesome. He's had some other very standout matches. The match with Riddle that we saw Riddle hit RKO for the first time. It was a fantastic match with a fantastic finish that you literally didn't see coming. Like the phrase they use way too much, but really didn't see that ending coming, and that really kicked off what's going on with RK Bro, and which has just been in the mix for a lot of great matches lately. So I think this one's not going to be any different. That he and Jinder are going to tear it down, and usually don't say that about a Jinder Mahal match, but when you consider that this is going back to Saudi Arabia, and Jinder's still a very big deal back there. It's not an easy win for Woods.
Up the win? Do you think Mahal picks up the win?
I'm leaning towards that, yeah. Just because he's going to have, kind of home field advantage going back to Saudi Arabia, and it's a way to drag a Saudi Arabia storyline out of Saudi Arabia, because I know this is kind of a blow-off, and you kind of start the season after Saudi Arabia. And
since Friday night we'll have a whole new roster. Well, not new rosters, but well, we're kind of in
after this happens. Right, and after this match or after this card happens, they're rarely going to mention anything that happened on it. So it is a way to bring a storyline out of Saudi Arabia that you can use down the road. But it's very curious what's going on with him in his home country, and then Finn on the other side. And I'm starting a new hashtag just for Finn, because Finn has been so disrespected. And I said it last week, and I'm staying on it until he gets his justice. For him? Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And I don't know what he has to do, if he has to turn heel, if he but he can present a new wrinkle to being the king that others haven't. And he deserves it, the way he's been treated since he returned from NXT. Just so disrespected in my eyes, from the whole business with the SummerSlam match, getting screwed out of that, and then the ending of Extreme Rules with the rope breaking and the demon losing, and WWE has not acknowledged it at all, aside from just show the 2-minute clip of the match recap. No mea culpa. We're sorry that the ring broke. Life goes on. You lost. So blah blah blah. And it's not right for somebody of Ken's talent to be treated like that. He's been nothing but screwed over and screwed over and screwed over. So I'm starting it. Justice for Finn. That's what I want. And I don't know if his contract doesn't run out and he jumps ship, or if he doesn't have a world title this time next year, then he didn't get his justice, and he deserves better than that. So I'm giving it a year to come to fruition. So everybody who's watching Superkickin It, Steven, we need to get this happening on social media. Hashtag Justice for Finn, and get the man back on top where he belongs, because he's been nothing but screwed over, and they're
maybe a King of the Ring win will
opportunity.
Get him back going, and especially if he could be the Demon King. They called him that at first, so it's interesting that it just went back to the Demon, but now you add this wrinkle, and like you said, it could give something to his character. We don't see many face King of the Rings, other than like Stone Cold. I think Lesnar at the time was kind of a face, but it's interesting like how they'll play that out. I'm going all for Woods. I know he's not going to get it, and I'm not trying to get my hopes up, but like you said, he's speaking it to existence, and like he's backing it up though. That's the thing. It's not like he is not like he put his name out there and he's doing, like he's saying, give me the ball. And and that's I on Stone Cold's podcast, he said that many a times. These guys need to just start stepping up for themselves, and and I think with Xavier Woods he's going to be on G4 when it starts back up. So maybe that's a good way to mix those crowds, video game crowd versus, wrestling crowd. Because you got to believe there's a pretty strong overlay, Greg, wrestling fans and video game fans, especially when I look at Twitter and you see some of the comments by both sides. So, what else happened on Raw? So we also had Cedric Alexander, Greg, and Shelton Benjamin pick up a win over Mansoor and Mustafa Ali, which is going to lead to, Greg, the battle in the desert that did not get any promotion last night. And I thought that was interesting since, both those guys are from of Arabic descent. So now Ali will go against Mansoor and watch them probably put on like 11:30 just to really screw things over for them. But Cedric and Shelton pick up the win. Do we see them back with Lashley yet, Greg? Or what is, because they even had the Hurt Business clothes, the Hurt Business tights on. So what's going on with that? And then we could get to Mansoor and Ali, pre-show match.
Yeah. It looks like it's where it's going. Again, with Saudi being kind of the it happened but it didn't happen kind of card that we get once a year. I think that after Thursday that you'll see the Hurt Business back in action. And they need it. They need the mojo back with Lashley without a title, and they need something to keep eyes on him. And when the Hurt Business was together, people were watching them. It was a great segment whenever they were on TV, and the three of them together, they look like a group that's traveled together for ages. And when they're wrestling together, they look complete. They complement each other, and it adds to the match quality. So I want to see more of it, and it looks like that's what's going to happen. I think after the Saudi show that we're going to have the Hurt Business back together.
And I was going to say, I wonder if hopefully they'll add the wrinkle of an extra member. Mia Yim, she's not doing, she's going to be showing back up on Raw, and I think she'd be a perfect fit. Just kind of as some, they can bring her in, our MVP could talk to her, be like, you're so underutilized, because she was Reckoning there. I don't even know if she even had one. I think she had a few matches as Reckoning, part of, Retribution. But after that, she was gone. So hopefully, now that, like we said, with the shows coming back or the roster set after Friday, I feel like we're in this weird holding pattern. You got to finish up these storylines, so you're not starting anything new yet until, like we said, the different matches. So Shayna Baszler defeated Dana Brooke to advance. And we are going to get, Greg, Shayna Baszler and Doudrop at the, the finals on one side, the semifinals, sorry. So we're getting that match on Monday night. Who is going to come out on top of that? Because I have no idea. Like, I feel like it's Shayna, but it's probably Shayna, especially after last night, right?
I'm sitting on the fence with it. Both of them have plenty of momentum going for them. And you've had Doudrop be the one girl who's been able to stand up to Shayna and not flinch. Yeah. And Shayna's been collecting arms for the last month. So I'm happy that Shayna's finally getting, her teeth back, as opposed to being jobbed out to all the baby faces and being the opposite of what she was in NXT. She's gone back to being the killer, and you can tell she's enjoying herself a lot more now that she's out of the Nia angle, she's out of the tag team angle, and just back in business for herself. Doudrop is also doing great. I'm still, disappointed about the name, but it is what it is. And
there's merchandise
she's
now,
not
Greg,
putting the momentum.
Christmas, I'll send you a Doudrop shirt.
Right. No turning back now. So both of them have been protected really well, and do drop to a smaller extent just because it's been Eva Marie, and that's easy work. Um, so we got a little mini Clash of the Titans going on.
Who's your official
Bad
prediction?
the prediction right now would be Shayna.
Yeah. I mean, she has Queen of
She's the
Spades in her
heel.
name.
Right. She's evil. She's the queen, and she will find some underhanded way to get the get the
Like a
victory.
roll up.
E-
I'm going to say a roll up or something like that.
Yeah,
I
possibly,
know
or
it's a cheap
beat on the
win,
ropes
but
or something like.
yeah. It also down the road they could have like a legit, because all these matches, Greg, have not even gone 5 minutes. We gave a lot of time to Becky and Sasha last night, but all the Queen's Crown, there's been a lot of chatter. Like people have been timing how long these matches have been going. And even last night, I'm like, well, maybe they'll give Zelina and Carmella some time. And even that was, what, 3 or 4 minutes, if that. It was, it felt like nothing.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see, first off, how long it goes. And then, how does Shayna pick up the win? Because, I think it's just her all the way. It just feels, especially if you have this storyline with Sonya Deville on SmackDown, maybe Sonya can use her power to help Shayna get things. So Naomi is going to Bloodline soon enough, which will be weird because that'll be heel versus heel, but whatever. I think it can make it work. So some other things. So almost defeated Riddle, because we are getting a tag team champions, Riddle and Randy Orton. Sorry, I'm having a lot of brain freezes today. Riddle and Randy Orton versus AJ and Omos. It's probably because this thing just keeps happening. It's time. Like we said, Monday night, we got to get some new tag teams in the mix for the title, because AJ and Omos have had enough time, and it's time to just move on from that. So, but then again, I don't know what tag. I mean, because Viking Raiders are on SmackDown. Miz and Morrison are broken up on Raw. I mean, I guess the Hurt Business will come after Riddle and Orton next. I mean, that's like the only tag team I can think of off the top of my head. So, any thoughts on Omos and Riddle match, and AJ calling out the moves? It's almost like he has voice control for Omos, and he's like, roundhouse kick and do it again. So.
Right.
How we think about Omos in the ring? I mean, I think he's looking pretty good, good for his size. It's so hard to find these big guys. Like, I think we're just so we were so I hate saying spoiled, but ruined by Khali. Khali is that he just could not move. I mean, and other than when he was doing his Punjabi Playboy, but big guys, especially like almost his size, 7'3" or 7'2", whatever he is. He looks like he can actually move in the ring, though, so that's good. What do you think of the match, Greg, there, and AJ Styles' involvement with it?
It was entertaining, and AJ's always entertaining. He's been for the decade plus I've been watching him. And when somebody as green as almost, working in an angle where you just call the shots for him audibly is a lot easier than trying to get close to his ear, him being 7'3", and call a match with him in close proximity. So it's a great move. As far as almost goes, I'm still out to lunch on him. He doesn't do much besides Hulk smash. Technically, I mean, I don't know how great his fundamentals are. If he actually has more moves than kick, punch, body slam, and but he's very new. He's very green, and it's the whole purpose of keeping a guy like AJ with him. That being said, it may be time now to let the tag team go, let AJ jump into the title picture, and be a great heel to oppose Big E.
Yes.
And let Omos go and do his thing, and finally step out of AJ's shadow, as odd as that is to say, and show that he can work on his own. Um, so I'm still saving judgment for almost, giving him a legitimate shot, but he does
Without
seem to be
AJ.
in that, yeah, he still seems to be in that Kali, even big show vein of big men that, um, have not much more going for them aside from the fact that they're big. So we'll see. Is all I can say. Until he really lays down a stinker of a match, I'm going to give him some rope and see if he can run with it or hang himself with it.
And I found this stat, Greg. I've wanted to bring it up about AJ Styles. So this is from a Kenny for your thoughts on Twitter. The fact he tweets this out, the fact that AJ Styles only has a little over 60 matches to go in order to have wrestled more matches in WWE than his entire run in TNA is absolutely insane to me. So he has 70 some matches, let's just say 70 matches left. And his run will be more, he'll have wrestled more in WWE than TNA.
That's insane.
That just blew my mind when I saw that. And I think if AJ gets a title run of 3 to 4 months, he'll have longer title runs in Triple H, Hulk Hogan. There's a names, and I wish I could find that one. But that one really, because it's funny, Kurt Angle real quick, I always think of him as WWE, but he wrestled longer in TNA than he did in WWE. So the fact that AJ's the opposite now, I mean, it still feels like AJ debuted, a year ago? I don't know why time is they always say, time is a social constraint, but maybe COVID has ruined my time frame anymore because it still feels like AJ is fresh from time, he's still, he's been really well handled. I know we always talk about the guys not handled, but AJ, I mean, they've handled him with kid gloves. I mean, you talk about, being given all the opportunities and all that. And I mean, so somebody believes in him. I mean, Vince must have really had a good meeting with him, 2016, was it? Royal Rumble 2016, right before that.
Yeah.
So, just crazy. But anyway, so who knows, in next year or so, AJ might have already wrestled more matches in WWE than his entire TNA run. And we always think of him as one of the TNA originals. So that's
right.
That just blew my mind when I saw that. So I don't know if Kenny for your thoughts is watching, but thank you for that insane tweet to, give it to us. So what else happened on Raw? Bobby Lashley talked up, wanted to ruin Goldberg and all that. No holds bar. Like we said, we'll talk up predictions here at the end, but I think we both have kind of said it's Goldberg's match to lose. It feels like these guys will go another match after that, and we'll kind of see what that brings. How about Austin Theory, Greg, beating Jeff Hardy? And then didn't Austin Theory get in the back? He wanted to take a picture with somebody else, but I can't remember, of course, off the top of my head, to kind of I kind of like this weird, like we said, nobody's doing, I hate saying dumb and stupid, gullible almost is the way that, he's presenting, but then he could kick your butt in the ring. So how about and of course we're going to see Jeff Hardy move to SmackDown. And we both said last week, I think Jeff Hardy, and you said as well, that probably needs to do a change of character and change it up a little bit for SmackDown and kind of get there. But I want to stick to Austin Theory because he's on Raw moving it forward. So, Greg, what about the match for Austin Theory there on Monday night?
Good match. And I was watching the match and thinking that the right thing to do is give Austin the win. Being the new guy that, even with his presence in NXT, we still didn't see many matches out of him.
Exactly.
So, really let him shine in front of on a big stage. And, he's going to have to build his groundwork. He's going to need to get his fan base going. Every superstar has their group, their following. And It's up to them to make it bigger. And Austin Theory is at the ground level. He's pouring the concrete right now, and kid's got talent. It's just a matter of if they'll protect him enough to let him show off what he can do. We don't want to see him on the job squad. Let him get some good wins, and this is a good start. They're already starting him better than they started off Karrion Kross. So there's that. But kid's in his early 20s, and he could be a flag bearer for the brand for years and years and years going forward if they do right by him. So I'm excited to see what the kids can do. And it was the right thing to do to have him beat Jeff Hardy. Jeff putting the guy over on his way out the door over to SmackDown. He's Teflon at this point that anytime he pops up, people are going to, go nuts for him. So him dropping a match to Austin Theory, does nothing to hurt him. He's going to show up on SmackDown as if his record is 0-0. So it helps everybody, and you got the right result.
And of course, we have to forget that Austin Theory was on Raw last year in the summertime with Buddy Murphy and Seth Rollins. So we have to pull a Men in Black, Greg. I think they just want to do that zapping with our eyes,
right?
Because he was on there. But anyway, so I really it was interesting when he kind of showed up with the way and just being this dumb, goofy kid like figure, but he's playing it up well. So we also had a tag. So we had Raw Women's Champion Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, SmackDown Women's Champion Becky Lynch. That just ended to no contest because everybody just started killing each other, and there was no final there. So Greg, Charlotte Flair is fighting Bianca Belair on Monday for the title. Does Charlotte drop that title? Because if we need Charlotte to move to SmackDown, she can't take the title with her. And we can't switch titles because Becky's on SmackDown. So could Bianca be heading to the Crown Jewel as Raw Women's Champion?
Very interesting question.
I didn't know if you froze there for a second. I'm like, uh-oh. I mean, she has to, right? We can't have Charlotte and Becky on SmackDown. Like, if we're starting a new brand season or, new rosters, then, I guess that's why we're playing this Bianca Belair and Charlotte Flair match for the title on Monday night. And Bianca's got to win because that just gives her the Raw Women's title.
Right. It's the same story, but that we just went over. But I think that it's the smart thing to do with Charlotte putting over Bianca on the way out the door. Mm-hmm. She's immediately going to be thrown into the championship picture with Becky or whoever comes out of Saudi Arabia with the championship on SmackDown. So it doesn't hurt her to drop the title on the way out the door to Bianca, put the young girl over. Charlotte has a reputation for not being willing to do that, which gives you a little pause. But in the end, it's not her choice.
Yeah.
I think you have to keep the Raw title on Raw, and now Bianca does go here, and beating Charlotte is going to elevate her, and it's not going to hurt Charlotte because Charlotte's, as she's told us every week, the most decorated woman on any roster, and she's stacking titles to get to 16 to tire her dad, and this is just another way to drop another one so she can collect another one. Mm-hmm. So I do believe Bianca is going to win and take the Raw title off Charlotte, headed out the door, whether we get a little outside interference, maybe as a result of what happens in Saudi Arabia. Oh, no, that's going to happen before Saudi Arabia. Never mind.
Yeah, that's what's weird. Like, it was, yeah, they just kind of threw it together because they're like, well, we probably have to get the title off Charlotte because you can't have both
Yeah,
women's champion unless you're going to put the women's titles together.
and that would be a great idea to just unify them, because at this point, it's six of one and half a dozen of the other. I get having one per brand, but it would be more prestigious to have one over both brands and then just have the champion go back and forth. So when the talent pool runs dry on one side, she can go to the other side and take challengers. So I wouldn't be against the men doing that too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I definitely
Survivor
think we need
Series
a
for
lot
that.
of, yeah. I would love to see unification matches for the main titles because then it gives you that person to jump back and forth too. I think if you need to, like if you have somebody like Roman Reigns, he can be used on Raw and SmackDown, and then you still have all the guys fighting for the U.S. title. And that, I feel like that almost bring that up. Like say Raw, say the champion's out on Raw. Well, then you're fighting for the U.S. title or the IC title on SmackDown. So it is too, and we keep saying Survivor Series needs stakes. You can't just say, oh, the Raw brand won and then move on. Like get an extra draft pick or they can pick up somebody from SmackDown. Even something simple like that, they get anybody they want from SmackDown or to pick like right then or not then, but like to pick up at their choosing. So if you don't know who you're going to move, well, then you still have that card, but it's, we'll see if Survivor Series means anything this year. And then Greg, I'm hearing TLC is not happening in December because the New Year Day, whatever that on January 1st is going to be in Atlanta on Saturday, January 1st. So they probably thought, why not just space it out? And then I don't know if you saw as well, Royal Rumble is going to be on the Saturday at the last Saturday of January, which is kind of cool because I like pay-per-views on Saturdays personally, but that's just because I like to go to bed after, and not worry about waking up for anything. But anyway, so yeah.
Right.
But plus I thought St. Louis to Indy, Greg, is like a 4-hour drive. And I'm like, man, and I've never seen the Rumble, but anyway, that's an off-topic conversation that I would love to make happen. Right. But anyways, Doudrop defeated Natalya. Like we said, I think we had to go to Doudrop and Shayna Baszler because of the history there, the short history there. So, and then the Usos defeated Big E and Drew, Greg, by countout. And Drew McIntyre took a legit bump from Big E. Did you see the big goose egg on his right above his eye on Drew? He might make Big E. He might have the receipt for Big E at Saudi Arabia. Right. If we see Big E's chest looking a little more red, Greg, that might. I mean, I know it's things happen, but man, that thing was already swelling up, and I'm like, oh, and of course it's Drew, so I'm sure Drew was like, you can give me more, but I don't know if he meant that much more into it. So we had the count out, we had the Usos, defeat them technically, but it's all because it's all about Drew and Big E. And like we said, this is a really good opportunity for Big E to really start his run now. You defeat Drew McIntyre, then, like we said, if AJ, and even if Omos is evolved, that almost gives Big E a way to overcome Omos and AJ Styles. So we'll have to see 2 weeks from today or 2 weeks from Monday how Big E's run is really going to start heading in the right direction or not. So Greg, so what about the tag team match we had there, the Usos defeating Big E and Drew, thanks to them just pretty much not existing, of course, as always.
Yeah. It's an angle they've been running way too often lately. I did like the Usos popping up. You didn't expect it, and they come out pretty much first on the night. Talk about rerun, everything. And I love the Usos, so I have no problem with it. And of course, to going to opposition against Big E and Drew. The whole promo segment was fun to watch. But what it is, what it is a little engine to fuel the fire between Big E and Drew, who were doing a great job, on the mic before the Usos came out, and good solid match. What to expect from having these four guys in the ring, and now I think that Big E's still going to beat Drew, but we make it a little bit more of even more of a smash mouth match out of both of these guys. I expect it to be good 3.5, 3.25 star kind of match.
Yeah.
So
because I imagine that goose egg will still be there on Drew. It might not be as prominent, but I think he'll still. I just couldn't believe when he laid that forearm into him. Was like, wow, well, and like we said, I mean, I know Drew is always probably telling guys, you can, lay into me a little bit, but I don't know if he means that much. So,
he was bleeding out of that thing. I saw some blood on him.
Yeah, I mean, it was
before
almost
the
like
commercial
split. So I was like, wow, that thing is that's legit. So, all right, well, let's do a little elite performance talk, and then we'll go right into NXT and then SmackDown, and then give our crown jewel predictions. So, a full show of WWE talk, and like I said, we'll get back on AEW next week. Kind of get caught up on Rampage and Dynamite this week. Then I believe Dynamite's back on Wednesday next week. We'll have to see, Greg. I'm not sure. But, now it's because now the NBA's back. So I'm sure that will preempt TNT stuff for AEW. So might be why they're moving to maybe they moved to TV. But anyway, I'm just blabbering. All right. LA Performance. Go check them out. NXT's time. So we got the night kicked off, Greg, with Tommaso Ciampa defeating Joe Gacy. I think we all we kept saying, oh, Joe Gacy probably was going to insert himself into this match. And then Harland, Parker Harland, or Harland, whatever his name is, came out and went after Ciampa, went after Gacy, and, kind of wanted to step up his name, as far as NXT title picture and making his debut as a NXT character. So, and really he's the guy that everybody kept comparing Brock Lesnar. So I'm glad that he shaved the head. I'm glad that they're giving him something kind of different. I wonder if maybe they'll pair Gacy up with him as a weird pet project type deal, just to kind of give Harlan, maybe he doesn't have to do anything or he doesn't have to talk much. So it gives him that extra bit of, secretive. But but then we also have Dexter Lumis. That's why I'm like, I don't think we need two characters in the same vein in a way. So I kind of wonder if they'll put Joe Gacy with him to kind of, make that a little bit different. So Greg, Ciampa picks up the win though. Kind of surprising there, right?
No, not surprising.
No?
I would be surprised if Gacy beat Ciampa. I mean, Gacy's, pretty much brand new on the scene. We've only seen him for a few weeks, and this guy's gonna come in and take out an OG.
Well, like we talked about, adding Gacy to that adding him and making a triple threat. I wonder if it would have been better for Halloween Havoc, just so then we could save Ciampa and Breaker down the road. But now I get, now we're just going to go at it. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, I guess.
Yeah, it was the right call. Unless you're going to have Harlan, who somebody I've never seen before, don't know anything about him.
This is his legit debut. he came to the PC Center through their whatever tryouts or something. So yeah, none of us have seen him other than whatever he's tweeted out. I think him and Eva Marie were training together a little bit, Greg. But when you see him now, he doesn't look like Brock Lesnar, but with some hair, he has very telling Brock Lesnar type features. So I think that's why a lot of people were like, okay, let's see what this guy could do. And I'm sure WWE fell in love with him because you just look at his size. And well, any more thoughts on Joe Gacy character? Since he's really tapping into it, the whole whatever, it just feels like it's going too many different directions now.
Yeah, I'm too much of an old fogey to. You're better to speak on it because you're still a school teacher, so you know what the whole woke culture is and the whole safe space and the whole trolling businesses of it. Me, I listen to his promos, and I get the kind of the weak nudge at the millennial verbiage, snowflakes that he was talking about in this episode, and safe space, things like that. The participation trophy era that we're in right now. I know it's kind of a send up to all that, but some of the other verbiage that he's using that's tapped into the kids these days, to use the old guy term. I'm still out in the weeds on some of it, but I'd see what he's getting at, and in a way, if you think about it, it reminds me of Bray Wyatt, that he's trying to tap into what Bray Wyatt was doing. And if that's what he's trying to do in the sense of the millennial culture and, the words that they speak, then, it's brilliant. And so if you think about it in that perspective, maybe that's what he's going after. And so if it is, I think it's working from apparently what's been spoken about him on social media. He's going to stay a hot character whether he wins or loses. And with this whole business with Harlan, it's going to add another layer to the onion for him. I just hope that Harlan doesn't become the new Festus or, Braun Strowman while he was with Bray Wyatt, where he's just an automaton that has a trigger, a word, a touch, or the way he was, caressing Harlan's face to calm him down is what that reminded me of. So I hope this Harlan character has, some juice to him, aside from being somebody that just has a trigger point that he can tap, and the guy goes, and then when the match is over, he hits that trigger point and he goes to sleep, kind of thing, like Festus, if you remember Festus. So
the bell.
Yeah, the bell. So I'm hoping it's not that.
But here's what's interesting, Greg. If Joe Gacy is talking up all this, these terms, well, guess what? One of those big words is triggered, and that's the idea that people get upset by. So I guess it might work. Like, say somebody says something about Harlan's mama, or something like that, and then so maybe it might not be a bell, but it might be, And what's weird is I'm going to assume, though, Joe Gacy's like of millennial age. Like, that's what's funny about it, I guess, because it's like, it's not like AJ Styles trying to use these words and talking down, or like, because like we said, we're pretty much, well, how old are you again, Greg? You're 42?
47.
Oh, you're 47. Okay. Well, there you go. See, I was giving you younger. Okay. So I guess we are a few years
I'll take
apart.
it.
But anyways, okay. But, like, I want to go off on the participation trophy thing because when we were kids, I got participation trophies. It is what it is, like this isn't I don't feel like this is just a thing now. Like this was going on for I mean, I was playing baseball at the 80s, and guess what I got at the end? A little trophy with a baseball player. And it is what it is. But anyways, I need to go on a sports talk show to talk about that because that just bugs me. And one more thing about it, Greg. I always find it funny when people complain about those trophies. But what does every single person do when they finish a marathon or finish a mini marathon or whatever? What do they get? If they don't win,
A medal.
they still get that. Isn't that? I mean, but people are like, "Whoa, I finished a marathon, but you didn't win. You got in 2,506th place. Sorry, but anyway, see, I'm triggered now, as the kids would say. But anyways,
Nice.
yeah. So let's just get back to what's his name? Zion Quinn. Toxic Attraction was kind of messing with him. That made me think of the old PMS days, Greg, with was it Saturn when he was with Jackie and Terry Runnels, or who wasn't there somebody with Jackie and Terry Runnels? Or do you remember what I'm talking about, or am I just?
No, it's bringing.
I can't remember which guy was with
slowly.
him, but for some reason, like this guy with toxic, Zion Quinn with Toxic Attraction, kind of works because he's a handsome guy, and he can be the muscle for them, possibly when they don't, maybe if they need muscle.
True.
So I kind of like that idea that maybe they take him in their wing, but we'll kind of see. But what do you think about this Quinn guy? I mean, we haven't heard anything from him, but he looks good in the ring. I mean, very short matches, but it's one of those things that we need to do the short matches to lead to more. So any thoughts on Quinn? Am I saying it right? Zion Quinn? I always forget how they say
I think you
name.
are.
Okay. What do we think about him?
It's Zion Quinn.
Okay.
He looks good. He's solid in the ring. And I'm hoping that, there's something in the works with him and Toxic Attraction because, number one, I'm not a fan of them having these segments collide so much
With no
where
payoff.
the guys in the ring or the girls in the ring and the next match comes out while they're still standing there. I mean, you're totally stealing the thunder from the person who was there. Yeah. Or there was something on SmackDown last night where there was somebody cutting the promo in the ring and then the next match comes out while I think there were ladies that were still standing in the ring. Or maybe it was the end of the.
It was the end of the
Carmella, the Shannon,
because they were trying to push to the contract signing.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but that's been happening on a regular basis
it's Becky
lately.
And Sasha. Becky's first loss.
Yes.
To singles competition. Yep. But anyways, we'll get into that for SmackDown.
So, but I don't like the stepping on the toes. Me coming from a theater background and knowing how important that is, I'm not a fan of that. It just screams amateur hour, So, let's stop doing that. But as far as Zion Quinn and Toxic Attraction, I like the points you're making that, he'd be kind of the muscle, the bouncer, make sure nobody, undesirables got too close to him. And in the ring, he's really solid. His matches look good. I like his presentation. We liken him to the Mortal Kombat character. Mm-hmm. But he needs something a little different to stand out because everybody in 2.0 right now looks kind of plain, and they need that backstory to flesh them out some more. So so far so good on him. So I hope they can, find more for him to do.
And that's the thing. I do think that is probably the point about 2.0. We're just throwing people out there, and then it's like, then we're going to flesh them out. It's like, let's at least get them in the ring working and then flesh them out. So that's, a different way to take it, and like your earlier point about, not letting things breathe. That's been, AEW's fault at times. They have all those segments back to back. Like they'll have a match and then they'll go backstage, and sometimes you don't hear the first part of the backstage segment because they're still finishing up like the the exits from the earlier match. But that's my biggest thing about AEW, like let things breathe. So how about Ivy Nile defeating Valentina Varos? She looks pretty good this whole and she's not big, Ivy Nile, but she looks strong, she looks powerful. The presentation of her with the chains on her gives her that like I'm gonna kick your ass. Like even though I'm short and fiery. So how about Ivy Nile, Greg, kind of picking up a win there on her first kind of match in the ring?
Yeah, I like her. She's presented well, very well. She looks like $1,000,000. She and like the chains are a solid touch because you see those chains and how thick they are, and it just adds to her presentation. Those chains are stronger than steel, and but she doesn't have an ounce of fat on her, and she's just gunned out from head to toe. And then when you get to the match, she looks super strong. She moves, no wasted motion, just quick and to the point. I wasn't a fan of her finish, doing the torture rack from the Lex Luger school of the human torture rack. I get it, given the size of her traps and her shoulders.
Yeah.
But when she's going up against bigger girls, she may not be able to pull that off. Yeah. So, for what it was a good introduction to her. I was looking forward to seeing what she could do, and I'm higher on her than I was watching BFAB in her first match, or Electra in her first match. So, a lot of good things on the horizon for her, I think, especially with the girls being her size.
Yeah, that probably helps. There's not many
so it's a
bigger,
good start.
we got Raquel, who stands a lot above all those women, but most women are probably around that. You got Casey and Caden, or Casey Canzazero. You got that Caden Carter woman. So you got a lot of women in that vein. Julius Creed defeated Ikman Jiro. We're just all about the Creed brothers in tag team action, Greg. Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner defeated Pete Dunne, Ridge Holland. Probably no surprise there because Ridge Holland's moving on. What does do we finally just get Pete Dunne on his own? Do we get Mustache Mountain back? Do we have Tyler Bate and Trent Seven joined from NXT UK to give Pete Dunne something, Greg? Or do we just get Pete Dunne on his own now?
I think Pete Dunne is going to go on his own just because, he and the Mustache Mountain guys were the bitterest of enemies. So unless they're going to do like a takeover, a literal takeover of NXT, the UK version versus the American version, that's the only intriguing angle I come out with it, where you put them all together. Dunn, Bate, Trent Seven, maybe Imperium, maybe the Grizzled Young Veterans, put all the UK guys in to take over 2.0. And then that would be a reason for all these new young guys who are just, getting their spotlight to band together and go against the UK guys. So it could be kind of a
action warfare
UK versus America. Yeah. So you could do something like that and it could work. And that would give us more exposure to the UK guys, plus more exposure for the new people on 2.0. So I'd be all for a rivalry like that. But unless something like that happens, Pete Dunne is best on his own, and he's right there in the mix to compete with Ciampa for the title. There's nothing that says one of the new 2.0 guys has to take the title off of him. It can go between the old guard until the new guard is ready.
That's true. Yeah. What about Kyle O'Reilly? We kind of talked him up a little bit. Does it seem like the writing's on the wall that maybe he's just going to have to be used in whatever capacity, but maybe not the title picture? Or do you think he ever finds his way back into the title picture, Greg?
I think he will. He needs some work. He seems a little lost right now.
Yes.
They get the whole
There's
thing.
no momentum behind him.
No. And them doing the angle with Von Wagner or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
If anything, it's giving a little aid to Von Wagner, but it's not helping Kyle at all. So I don't see a breakup in a match between those two coming down the line. So I think the writing may be on the wall with Kyle O'Reilly, and you wonder if he had his contract situation is going to be similar to the rest of the UE guys. I mean, we already seen Adam Cole, his run up. Bobby Fish is on AEW now. Maybe they're all signing contracts around the same time, and maybe they expire around the same time. I'm curious to see what the details on that are, because the other four,
we have to
the four is
assume
down to two.
We have to assume Roderick Strong. I bet he signed a new contract, because I can't imagine. Because you would think that if they were all signed together, then like we had August, and then Bobby Fish was cut. So who knows what? Who knows? Maybe Bobby Fish signed a longer contract too, but. But like you said, I wonder if the writing is on the wall for Kyle O'Reilly. Like this time next year, are we going to be surprised if we see him in AEW? Probably not. Like I think he needs.
Nope.
And he had the momentum after that Adam Cole feud, and then it just never. It's like he couldn't carry it, and with whatever cool guy Kyle and all that. So Duke Hudson defeated Grayson Waller. Nothing much there. Indy Hartwell picks up some more wins, Greg. But I just want to jump to the end because that's where all the shenanigans happened. And I guess it makes sense because we needed to get the title off Swerve Scott. He wasn't going to carry the North American title to, SmackDown. I mean, I guess I would have been okay with it. And then maybe a month later, you have him lose it. But so we had him defeat Escobar. And then you had Carmelo Hayes come in, and I didn't know you could cash in the contract. I assumed the contract would be for a match to be, next week or to say when you. But apparently the contract is now just a Money in the Bank contract. So our new NXT North American champion is Carmelo Hayes, obviously with Trick Williams involved. And that's the thing too. I thought maybe they might try to say, we want a tag team opportunity because they were building them up as a tag team, but you could probably still do that down the road. So, Greg, that means Swerve can leave and go to SmackDown, and you wonder if they're going to debut sooner rather than later because they've been playing some good promos for them. But Carmelo Hayes, change of attitude over the past 3 weeks, and now he's your new North American champion. So have at it, Greg. What were all your thoughts on all the shenanigans that happened there at the end of NXT?
Yep, I dug it. Every now and then they can throw in a swerve that you don't see coming from a mile away. And I guess all of us were thinking that, this is where Escobar wins the war and, takes Swerve's title on the way out the door. And they had a great match. I was really entertained by this match. Solid match. And as soon as I saw Carmelo and Trick come out, then it clicked in like, oh, okay, maybe this is because the Legato guys came out to interfere, and then Trick and Carmelo come to his aid. And I know they did the abduction angle at the beginning of the show, but I just wonder, okay, why not the Hit Row guys? Where'd they hide them? And everybody who would come out and help Swerve, these would be the last two people that you would expect. And after that, the writing was on the wall. You could see in the clearing of the room with the Legato guys that he had the contract out, and it fell on the floor while they were brawling, and he picks up the win on Legato, and then they slide in and pull the Swerve, and Carmelo's the champ. So I like the way they did it. It's I think the right move. You put it on Carmelo, a guy who's an up and comer, like change of attitude, and he's very talented. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do, and he's going to even become more heelish and more overbearing now that he's champion.
That's
and
true.
you can either now pull up Legato and
Please do.
do the hottest new free agent business that they'll usually do, and I hope they do too. And filter more of the vets out of NXT and onto the main roster, and let the new school guys go at it.
I mean, I guess the only thing that's keeping Legato down there almost now, or you got to feel like, is Elektra. Like, I wonder if they feel they need her for the women's division. So it's almost keeping, even though like Enzo and Big Cass moved on with Carmella, but I feel like Elektra kind of needs Legato with her to kind of give her that push. So, yeah. All right, let's do some realty talk, and then we'll get into SmackDown. And man, that end of SmackDown, I cannot wait to hear your thoughts on it, Greg, because that we haven't had many cliffhangers in wrestling lately, but that's a cliffhanger there that they did at SmackDown. So, and it's overdue. So, let's get some realty talk first, and then we'll probably just get right into it because why not? So.
What is up, everybody? It's your boy Dan over at BWSPORTS1.com and Black and White Sports. And I'm wondering if you're ready to buy or sell that home, now's the time, and I got just the person for you. Mr. Sean Nugent, a.k.a. Rockstar Realtor himself. 317-503-8322. Put that home on the market. Get into your dream home with this man. Talk to Sean at Talk to Tucker today, 317-503-8322, and make sure you tell him the boys over at BWSports1.com sent you.
So, yeah, let's kind of get into what was SmackDown. When I can get to it, where are the results? Because this is not the right week. But anyways, we'll get into it. So we'll just get into the end, Greg, because that's what everybody's talking about. So we had Brock Lesnar, we had Roman Reigns, we had Adam Pearce, Paul Heyman out there. We had a contract signing, and we all know contract signings always go well. I love Pat McAfee stating that. I love the fact that Pat didn't really know what was going on. He didn't know what was going on at first. Because like you said, we had the Becky Lynch and Sasha match finish up. And then you had Becky sitting dejected, and then Adam Pearce is like, nope, we gotta go, like get the contract set up.
Right.
And McAfee is like, had no clue what was going on, but it's McAfee. Maybe he partook in some party favors beforehand and just was foggy for a minute. So, but we had Roman sign the contract. We had Brock sign the contract, not even reading it, Greg, because he drops the line. I read it already with my advocate, Paul Heyman. So now the swerve is out there. Like, I feel like now you can't have Heyman with Lesnar, right? Like, it's already, but we got to figure out how we're going to get Reigns to buy into Heyman. And that's, like I said, so finally, Greg, we have like a cliffhanger, because Raw used to be pretty good about that. And, even WCW days, you might have the big old brawl. That'd be, kind of a cliffhanger. But SmackDown, they gave us that little, nugget, as you like to say, that Lesnar's like, I already read it with my advocate, Paul Heyman, which pretty much he probably is not with Paul Heyman, I guess, is the big swerve there. So have at it, Greg. What do you think of the contract signing and that little gem by, Brock at the very end?
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. I love it on every level because one, with them doing this whole Super Smackdown business, it's going to be the end of the night, and if you've seen Brock Lesnar, he's not going to do a 15-minute back and forth with anybody to close out the night. It's going to be short and sweet. Somebody's either getting their ass kicked or, this is going to be done quick, fast, and in a hurry. And that line was the perfect line to drop, in essence, his mic drop and get out of the ring. It lends that seed of doubt. It lends the moment to when you get to the end of that crucial point of the match where maybe both guys are down and Paul's sitting there wondering,
who does he help?
Okay, who am I with? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because that moment will come. But the whole thing was just excellent. Brock is never going to be your interview guy. And you can go back to his WWE or his UFC interviews for evidence of that. And it was just the perfect mic drop. Get in and get out. And your storyline has 10 more layers to it with him just dropping that one line. So I love what they're doing with him. He comes out and, just a couple lines in and out and he's gone because he's never been promo guy. He's not going to stand in the ring at the beginning of Raw or SmackDown and give you 5 minutes of soliloquy. He's going to spew venom and he's going to leave. So it was brilliant the way they did it. And, now you're even more excited to see what's going to happen with this match because there's legitimate reason to put the belt back on Brock. And it's not just a fait accompli that Reigns is going to win. So for once, I'm excited to watch this match, even though it's in Saudi. I think it's been wasted by being in Saudi, but again, I think I'll give you the prediction in a minute, but yeah, for all intents and purposes, this was the perfect way to close the night.
This is a good, that's a go home show moment. Go home show moment for that. So they are Sasha Banks defeats Becky Lynch. And like I said, Becky's first pinfall in over 2 years at least. I mean, in singles matches. So, Greg, what about, Sasha Banks going away and then she gets to pick up a win over Becky, and it almost felt like nothing because they are moving so quickly to try to get that next segment in, I don't know if they're running short on time or are they making it seem like, oh, we're just going to move on from that because we're not, I don't know. It just seemed weird, like you said, that it didn't get to breathe, that was Sasha Banks. And I guess, granted, you could still have Becky say, well, there was interference by Bianca and kind of play that up like, oh, I didn't really lose. So you still have that out there. But a really good, strong match between the two. And, I'm looking forward to, the crown jewel match. I think those three ladies are going to put on the best match. And we'll have 2 women's matches because we'll have the Queen's Crown tournament match finals, and then we'll have this. So who would have thought, Greg, even 3 years ago, that we'd have 2 women's matches in Saudi Arabia when we were lucky to get one. Lacey Evans and Natalia or
Natalia? Yep.
Yeah, Lacey Evans, because I remember they had and I think another interesting aspect is, you think about Sasha, Greg, she doesn't wear a lot. So I wonder what they'll give her for, first, and even Bianca. So yeah, we'll kind of see what they do for them as far as, match gear is concerned. But a really good, strong match that led into and, kind of maybe ran over into that last segment, Greg. Your thoughts on it?
Yeah, maybe they're making up for it on this show. The fact that they won't get to show any skin on the next one because Bianca comes out and we're like, wow, is that Bianca or the genie from Aladdin? Because I've never seen her show that much skin, and but she was rocking it, so I'm not hating on it. But it was a little bit of a shock to see her come out and just a little two piece number that she had on, and you know there's a whole lot showing. So
Yeah.
good on her. And then as far as the match itself goes, it was a little, it was predictable, especially when Bianca came out for commentary. Um, but Sasha and Becky can't have a bad match. So even with Bianca sitting there, they still let the match breathe and gave them time to have a good match, which they did. Um, but you knew what was coming at the end. Somebody would end up at Bianca's feet, and there would be some type of um, interaction with Sasha or Becky, and that's what happened, and that led to Becky losing. So I think that also is an indicator that Becky's not going to lose it in Saudi. But it was a solid match, and for what it was. And, what I didn't like was, they were very verbose in letting us know that this is the last hour, and we still have the Usos street fight and Sasha and Becky, and no more commercials. And you still couldn't find a way to divide the contract segment, which was, like we said, quick, fast, and in a hurry, from a great match with Sasha and Becky. So I wasn't a fan of that. They didn't, cut that up so we could enjoy it more. But still great match by the ladies, great showing from the ladies, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen on Thursday, especially since I'll be off and we'll be doing our watch party thing probably, since it sounds like you'll get to watch it too.
Yeah, I'll be home from fall break, so kind of different. It'll be interesting to see the spectacle. It will be like a WrestleMania 2, almost, or SummerSlam 2. What other things happened? The Usos defeated Street Profits. I think, Greg, I think we're going to see more matches between those two. I feel like it's just they're heading for a the fall season feud. But good first match there, and the street fight. Yeah, it's funny that we just got the street fight out of the way, though. You think that would be a towards the end of the line type match for them, but they got the street fight there. So, Greg, what do you think about the street fight tag team championship match there between the Usos and Street Profits?
I enjoyed it. I said a bit earlier, I love the Usos, and I've been a huge fan of the Street Profits since NXT. And I was hoping that the Street Profits would actually win this match. With them coming out with an hour left to go in the show, I was hoping for a good 30-minute instant classic. And I didn't get that. I got half that. I got 15 minutes and the Usos winning. So it's still a good start to the series, because I definitely expect there to be a whole lot more matches between these two. And it sets up well for them, because with New Day coming over to SmackDown, now you have the Usos, the Street Profits, and the Usos all on the same show. So, the tag team vision is, good to go, pretty much with just those three teams. And then you're going to have these ancillary teams on the side to throw in when you need. So I liked the match. I was hoping that the Street Profits would get it, but, not now. But I think down the road, they'll end up with the belts.
Selena defeated Carmella in a less than 3-minute match, thanks to Liv Morgan's interference but showing up in her 10-inch heels I've never seen her look so tall, Greg. I was like, oh, she must be standing on a platform. And then it was just her heels that were like, I mean, my fingers probably can't even see how big they are because I got small hands. But anyways, so Zelina looks good with that crown. I kind of hope they give her the crown. We'll see if she could beat Shayna Baszler or Dewdrop. I'm fine. I'm kind of fine with any Zelina or Shayna kind of winning it. It feels like they're two strongest. They make the most sense. So, and then we'll carry over Carmella and Liv Morgan feud to Raw. They're starting, after Crown Jewel. So, it was not the best use of it, but it worked, I guess. Greg, but how about this? Sonya Deville in action. Yes, I use the quotes because as we saw,
right.
she did not get to finish her. I figured she wasn't going to wrestle. And then she brings up the caveat, oh, you forgot to hear me finish when I said Shayna Baszler, or it'll be a handicap match. Shayna Baszler is my choice. And we're just going to team up on you. So, like we said, Greg, Naomi to the bloodline has to happen sooner rather than later. And even though it'd be like a heel figure, authority figure, and a heel wrestler, it still makes sense because you can have Paul Heyman speak up for Naomi and, give her that glow, pun intended, full out pun intended. I even stopped to think about that one, Greg, because as you could see, I paused and I knew I had to get the word glow in there. But now does Naomi, though, does she change up her look because of that? Maybe we'll kind of see. But where do we think this is going between Sonya Deville? Like, will Sonya Deville and Naomi get an actual one-on-one match, Greg?
They will eventually, but I see more roadblocks like this one popping up in the meantime. Her throwing more, wrenches into the plan, or pitting her against the biggest, baddest woman on the roster. You thought you were going to be wrestling Carmella. No, you're wrestling Charlotte, or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So just, screwing with her as much as you can, and then at some point, I forget if she's married to Jimmy or Jay, but one of them, whichever one she's married to, comes out and helps her to the back, and then we see her in the bloodline. And I think it would be great for her to drop the glow thing because the glow thing is kind of tired now. It was great when she brought it out, and it worked for a couple years, and then it's just kind of bleh now. It's time for her to switch it up a little bit, have her come out, throw more black into her gear, come across more serious, take the neon out of her hair. And she could really, just by doing those things, really drastically change her appearance and come out as somebody more dangerous, more, violent, in more Shayna in her game, and change her demeanor a little bit to fit, the swag that the bloodline is bringing. So, and then you have her stand next to them. She looks more like them. She walks more like them, and she wrestles more like them. Then you got something. You got people tuning in to see Naomi too. So, like I said, it's got to happen, and then you have her way into getting better matches with, Roman and Adam Pearce already happy with each other. Paul and Adam are always going at each other, but with the weight of Roman behind her, now Adam and Sonya can't screw with her or, suffer the consequences of, the champ. So I'm all for it, and I'm excited to see what Naomi would bring as part of the bloodline.
And like
but
we said, down the road, if you have Hit Row coming as a 4-piece, I mean, just that gives BFAB somebody. I mean, really somebody strong to work with, and that's probably what BFAB needs right now. So, Finn Balor defeated Sami Zayn. As much as I would love to see Sami Zayn get the crown, Greg, I just knew with his religious beliefs and all that. He was not heading to Saudi Arabia. Like I said, I was hoping maybe they'd pull some strings to try to get something else. But so, like we said, I don't know. We might be seeing King Finn and the Demon King show up because Finn's got some momentum now for that. And, like you said, that would give him a tweak to the character. So that's kind of where I want to leave with that. And then finally, we did have Edge and Seth cut promos on each other about the Hell in a Cell. I'm actually looking forward to that. I think it will be a good finish up to the feud. I hope. We always say Hell in a Cell should be the end, and sometimes it's not. So, I guess I would like to see maybe Edge go visit Seth's house at some point. Kind of go back and forth with that. But what do we think, Greg? Edge, Seth Rollins, Hell in a Cell. That should be a good barn burn of a match.
Yeah. First of all, hashtag justice for Finn. Let's get happening.
I forgot about that. Yes, justice for Finn.
We got to get out there. Justice for Finn. Hashtag. It worked for Naomi in getting her championship match.
If he wins King of the Ring, is that enough for you, Greg, or you still need to see more after that for Finn?
No,
if he wins
it's
okay.
It's definitely not enough. It's a start. It's a small start. It's a small mea culpa. We're sorry about the ring, the malfunction, but this does not make it go away. It's a step in the right direction. Give him a crown for the year. Let him revise the presentation of being the king as much as he wants, and this leads to a title opportunity down the road where he can capitalize on that status. But this is just a step down the right path back to redemption because, the Demon King still has egg on his face from what happened at Extreme Rules. There's a reason we haven't seen him cut a promo. There's a reason we haven't seen him barely on TV at all until this match came in. And they're trying to make us forget that match happened, that ending happened. So you got some making up to do to make this right. And WWE, you better make it right. So I'm a hashtag justice for Finn until he gets it. So moving on to the Edge and Rollins angle, loving it. And the fact that I guess this is the one good thing about this Saudi Arabia card is instead of building a whole pay-per-view around Hell in a Cell and having 2 cell matches or a bunch of gimmick matches, that we're going to get just one, and it's the one match that belongs in there. And even though this is the time of the year that this match or this pay-per-view usually comes up, it was still kind of a shock that one of them called Hell in a Cell. And I wasn't expecting it, but like I said, this is the match that you would use for that. I expect it to be the best match of the night, hands down. I'm a little bummed out for the wrestlers though, because is the crowd going to be as into it as they would be if it was here? All of us are 1,000% invested in this rivalry, but how is it out there? Is it going to get that same playback? Is going to get that same verve from the audience that it would if it was in the States? So I hope they do, and this match gets the love it deserves. Regardless, these guys are going to bring it. It's going to be an awesome match, and I think Edge is going to win the rivalry. So, but hands down, this is going to be the match of the night.
And of course, they're both on Raw, so we wonder if the feud will be done after this. Because why not keep revisiting the well through the whole year, and then you have your feud of the year. So, all right, one last commercial break, Greg, and then we'll get right into Crown Jewel predictions and get off right into the sunset for the weekend. So, Let's do some Rogue Energy talk real quick. Alrighty, so let's just get right to the main event. Mansoor versus Mustafa Ali, Greg. Crown Jewel main event. I'm going to call Mansoor to pick up the win. I just think that's where he debuted. I think he was he in the Greatest Rumble, or I think he was in that Greatest Royal Rumble. So I think he picks up the win. I don't know what it means for him and Ali moving forward. I feel like we still have legs to stand on for them to somehow be a tag team. So, but I think he picks up the win here. Who do you got, Greg, in this match?
Yeah, I believe that Mansoor is going to have this one because I believe he won the Greatest Royal Rumble. Out there, and I believe he is still undefeated.
Didn't Braun win that Rumble?
Well, you may be right. Let's see.
Because he had that weird green.
I'm not sure if he was in that.
What was that? Remember, Braun won something when they gave him that green title. Wasn't that Braun? Am I not thinking of the right person? I'll look it up while you're talking.
We got to research that later.
Talking.
But
yeah.
As far as I know, I believe Mansoor is still undefeated in Saudi Arabia. So. Over Ali, I think he's still going to be the huge favorite. I think this will probably be a great way to start the night with this match. I know one of the two title matches is usually how they do it, but in this case, with two guys who are pretty much hometown guys, that this would probably be a better way to start the night with this match. They can have a high-flying match with, good versus evil going on. And, no matter who wins is still, one of the Arab descent guys who's, holding up his hand at the end. So Mansoor, because he's, the babyface in the story, I think he ends up getting the win.
So here, Greg, our producers on this show are the greatest researchers people ever, because look at this picture right here. Boom. That is Braun Strowman when he won the Greatest Royal Rumble. Because that's when Daniel Bryan was like in there forever, and he was taking the chops from Roderick Strong. So yeah. I didn't want to think I was like, I remember because people were joking that he got a title for whatever reason, but he, so yeah. Read more real quick. What does it say about it? But I thought Mansoor was in that because I believe that's the Royal Rumble that the Titus O'Neil thing happened, where Titus O'Neil fell into and underneath. So yeah. And then Daniel Bryan was in there
Titus World Slide.
And he was in number 1. And I think he was in there for over 60 minutes. So yeah. I'm trying to see. I thought Mansoor was in that though. But I could be wrong. It says Lashley was in there. Shane O'Mac, Jericho Owens, Big Cass, Titus O'Neil, Mike Kanellis, All New Day, Dan Matha, who used to be like an NXT person. Oh, Babatude, who is Commander Aziz now, was in that, Greg. So there you go. So yes. but I thought Mansoor was in that. But anyways,
But
oh well.
I believe Mansoor is still
Mansoor,
undefeated. So
yeah, in Saudi Arabia. Yep. How about RK Bro versus AJ's Almost? I'm going to say RK Bro, just because, like I said, we need to move on from that. So, Greg, are you going against the grain there?
no, sir. I'm staying with the RK Bro.
All right. Edge and Seth Rollins. I'm going to say Seth Rollins picks up because I feel like this isn't over yet. And I know it should be with Hell in a Cell, Greg, but I think we could. And well, I guess the downfall is Becky is on SmackDown, so we can't do the Becky and Seth stuff. But it's weird that they're both on Raw. You know, like I feel like Seth will move on. I think he moves on to that title picture. So I'm saying Seth Rollins for the win. Are you going with Edge though?
Yep, I'm going to Edge. I mean, for the final blow off for this rivalry, because I do believe it'll end here.
Yeah.
Edge needs to be the guy who wins, and that way he can take his victory lap. He can, go off TV until it's time for him to pop up in another big angle. We know he's just a part-time guy, and he's been working, a good handful of months straight with this Rollins angle. Close to another 3-4 months this has been going on. So here we have our big payoff. Edge can fade back into the woodwork, and then Sedge or Ed. Easy for me to say.
You just put them together.
Combine the two and say Sedge.
I mean, anymore they're almost alike. They look alike.
Seth is new Edge anyway, right? So
yes.
Seth can go into the championship title picture. He can move into any vein that he wants. He can still spin it the way he spins it. He can still come out. And how about that suit? Holy crap. That was amazing.
Like we said, if we could get
if
we could get a peek into the Amazon search history of, Seth and Becky, my God, I want to see what they passed up. Like
wow, that suit was amazing, and the Harley Quinn chants that came out for him were priceless. But yeah, he can pivot into anything he wants and still be money even after he loses his match. So I'm still saying that he's going to win.
All right, Goldberg and Lashley, no holds barred, anything goes. I'm going to say a lot of chair shots, probably some kendo sticks, maybe a table, but I think Goldberg pulls off the win. I still feel like we'll get one more out of these two. I don't want it, but I don't think we need Lashley in the Royal Rumble. So I could see, like we said, maybe Lashley and Goldberg at the Royal Rumble against each other. Or if you want to do it quicker, maybe you do it at Survivor Series. You could do it there too. But I'm gonna say it's probably some finishing up of the feud at Royal Rumble. So, we even got that New Year's Day New Year's Revolution, because that's what we all want to call it. But the New Year's Day pay-per-view. So you could even do it there, I guess. But I'm calling for Goldberg, Greg. How about you?
I do also. This is finally a match that even Goldberg can't screw up. They're getting to use all the weapons.
Knock on wood.
Well, right. Right.
Might hit that.
I'm hoping this is a match Goldberg can't
Don't
screw
pick
up.
up Lashley. That's all I'll say. Don't pick up Lashley.
Right. But at least making this a no rules match and taking it out of the vein of being a real wrestling match. Now you're getting somewhere, because Goldberg has shown that he fails as a whole, just big old fail when it comes to trying to put on a legit wrestling match. So this is his wheelhouse now. Swinging chairs or kendo sticks or putting somebody to a table, but then we can still do that. And right, and Lashley will still take those bumps for him, and Goldberg's a big enough guy to believe he can take those bumps. So We'll get a good, street fight, all out match, and with the storyline going on. I think this is it. We have this match. Goldberg wins, and Goldberg disappears. I don't think we see any more
Because we've
Goldberg.
had how many? We had SummerSlam, and then is this? Did we have another match for them?
He lost the title shot, and then
I feel like it's the best of three. And now I do have a quick pause, Greg. No holds barred. Can the Hurt Business come out there, and maybe Lashley picks up the win, and then we have to move on.
right. That would be the reason for
No
the
holds
match
barred.
taking another. Yeah, that'd be the reason to go another match if the Hurt Business gets involved and
No, I guess
steals
that's
the win
true,
from
yeah.
him.
That's true.
I
I don't know. I just feel like, yeah, like we said, the no holds barred is there for a reason, and it's probably more to protect Goldberg. But I feel like they've had a couple. But anyways, so whatever. How about we just get to the women's match? Because I think. Oh wait, no, we've got to. So who is our king and queen, Greg? I'm gonna say Finn and Shayna. I think Finn and Shayna are my picks for the finals and get the crown and all that good stuff. Who are your picks for the queen's crown and the king crown?
Yeah, my one hashtag justice for Finn,
Okay.
and then so Finn on the men's side, and then the women's side, it's going to
Going
be
Zelina?
either between
We got
Shayna
Shayna
and
and
Zelina. Those are-
Dewdrop. Well, we have Shayna Dewdrop on Monday, so we might not know, but I feel like we know. And then you have Selena in the finals against whoever wins.
I don't know. It's just weird to have the Queen of Spades being the Queen of the Ring, or doing the Queen's Crown thing, because the two really don't tie together, and
That's true.
in the way that Shayna's presenting it. The
Yeah.
Queen of Spades means something completely different. That being said, she could spin it into whatever she wants to spin it into. So, also you got Charlotte as the queen on SmackDown too. So,
We just got a lot of queens.
apparently, I don't see a better option than going with Shayna. So, I'll be with you on that too.
Okay, so there we
Even
go.
though it part of me
go.
says Zelina for some sick reason.
I mean, it would
There's
give
a
her
reason
something
about
finally.
Zelina.
Yeah, that would be her, her coming out party finally.
Right, she's winning matches. Holy crap!
That's true, and not having to do much. How about Becky, Bianca Belair, and Sasha? I'm going to say Becky for the win. I feel like she pinned Sasha to kind of get that back on her, but especially if we come out with Bianca as a Raw Women's Champion after Monday night, there ain't no way she's winning. So I'm going to say Bailey. I keep saying Bailey because I miss Bailey. Damn it, I want Bailey back in my life. Like Bailey, free agent, just let her bounce around. And Asuka, I know she's still hurting, I guess. So yeah, we're missing some big women there, Greg. But I'm going to call Bailey or Becky for the win. I said it again. Becky Lynch for the win. How about you, Greg? Where are you going?
Yeah, it's definitely a two-girl race between Sasha and Becky. Sasha's got nuclear heat on her right now. With the way she's been performing since she's come back. So I'm going to go opposite and call it for Sasha.
Okay.
Just because Sasha seems more likely to, go underhanded and, by any means necessary to to get the win a little bit more dastardly than Becky would go.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
and then it just fuels the fire between them going down the road. So,
And you still have
I'm going to
Charlotte
go
there.
opposite and say Sasha. Yep.
You can go back to the Charlotte Sasha if you need to. So Big E and Drew, this is all Big E to win, but I still think it'll be a fantastic, hard-hitting, like 10 to 15-minute match. Like I've said, maybe open the night or, towards the beginning. I feel like but it's going to be a good win for Big E to notch in his belt, as they say. And then we'll have to see where Big E goes afterwards. So thoughts on Big E and Drew, Greg?
Yep, agreed. Big E's going to get the win, and big check on his record. Right behind Edge and Seth for match of the night contention, because big hard hitting match, and we're going to get a couple This Is Awesome chants before that match is over.
Mm-hmm. Big sweaty men slapping beef. I mean, what more could you ask
Right.
for, Greg? I guess we could have thrown Goldberg in there, but anyway. So, and finally, Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman in a shark cage. No, that's going to come next. So I'm guessing down the road. I'm sure WWE has a shark cage or two laying around in that gigantic warehouse. But I'm going to say Roman picks up the win. I think Lesnar being the free agent, we could still hit the well. You can hit the well again, maybe at Rumble, maybe at I don't know about WrestleMania, but anyways, maybe at Royal Rumble, maybe at that New Year's Day. That gives that something there. So, because I've heard the rumblings are that Lesnar and Reigns will do multiple matches together. So, because now that now that we got the roles really defined, it's you can actually let them play the story that probably needs to be played out. But I'm going to call Roman Reigns to pick up this win. Not that confident in it, but still confident enough to pick up the win. How about you, Greg?
I disagree that Brock Lesnar is going to win this match, but he's not going to win the title. He's going to win by DQ. Any number of ways it can happen. But
Usos
mainly it
come
involves the Usos coming down and jumping into the match and just deliberately dogpiling on them, and they just have a 3-on-1 beatdown. Or you can have where he gets Roman in the Kimura, and Paul, knowing what happens when he gets people in the Kimura, it weighs the Usos down, and they know that you only have a few minutes or a few seconds to save them. They come out, but by whatever way, the Usos get involved, and Brock wins by disqualification, which is more reason for another match because Roman couldn't beat him clean.
That's true.
And now, you can drag this storyline out, this great storyline out for another couple pay-per-views at least, and maybe pay it off at Mania with Brock beating Roman. So you could stretch it out that long if you want it.
Well, that's what's tough. It's like we keep always saying, who do we want to beat Roman? And like you look at the SmackDown side of things, I don't know if there's any big names right there. Like Drew seems like he's headed that way, but do people want to hit that Drew well again? So it's going to be interesting to see who is the next, that next step up. So that's it for Crown Jewel. That's it for WWE this week, Greg. How about some finishing thoughts? How about your Chargers this week? Who do we got?
We're going against the Ravens tomorrow, and I expect another win. They had a barn burner of a win against Cleveland last week, 47-42. Game of the week. They even down 2 touchdowns in the second half, and Justin Herbert's just killing it, putting in work, and brought them all the way back. And dude, if he keeps it up, is going to be the MVP because he's playing on such a high level. So,
Yeah.
as a lifelong Chargers fan, it's doing my heart good. It's almost giving me a heart attack by seeing the back and
But it
forth,
makes
and
sense because
wonder
you
if we're
got a
gonna pull it out.
rookie or second-year quarterback in there. But yeah, these young and
Yeah,
up-and-coming
but
quarterbacks are really starting to step up. And like Josh Allen, I mean, you've always had
absolutely,
Lamar Jackson. I
and
don't want to
he's
talk
already
about Monday
top
night.
5 in the league.
I don't want to talk about the
Oh,
Monday
oh
night
yeah,
game, Greg, because my Colts should have won. And like
yeah, they should have.
people were saying that really could have shifted the season. Like tomorrow, they have to win. They have to beat the Texans. I mean, I guess that's what the fun thing is about the AFC South. They're still like 2 games out, but that's the only way that we're getting into the playoffs is winning the AFC South, and that could be a 10-7 win, or 10-7 season, or even 9-8 could win that division. I'm wondering, thinking so.
It
Yeah,
could.
Colts
I think
played
the only
so.
good thing about Baltimore winning was the fact that now they're going to go into the whole game against the Chargers being relaxed and not as
You do
angry
want
about
yeah.
getting smoked on Monday Night Football, which they were getting smoked for 3.5 quarters.
Oh, I know. I was flipping back and
I
forth,
was
and I was like,
surprised
oh,
by the
it was
ending.
22-9. I'm like, okay, and I still didn't feel comfortable though. Like I just know, whatever reason they can't put teams away. I mean, they just, now Carson Wentz played about as well as he has, and it looked good. So, but then Lamar Jackson pulled out Lamar Jackson and just, carried the team. Because even he was getting some criticism, I think, there early, like, oh, is he, the same Lamar Jackson and all this? So, yeah, we got the Texans tomorrow at home. So it's like, you got to win.
Okay.
Like, come out in that first quarter.
They got to beat the Texans.
Get a double-digit lead and just, keep stepping on the foot or stepping on the gas, as they say. So, and even I think Coach Frank
And if
Wright
that
was
wasn't
like,
enough,
go ahead.
no, I was about to switch gears. What was Frank Wright saying?
Oh, I was just like, he even said they probably should have been more aggressive. And it's like, okay, thanks. Like, yeah, thanks, coach.
Right. Thanks, Captain Obvious.
Yeah. Anyways.
But
yes, we could switch
if
gears.
that wasn't a big enough, capper to the weekend, I got the hookup through a very special friend of mine that for VIP tickets for tomorrow night's Slipknot show at PNC here in Charlotte. And I've seen them, I think, 4 times already. Okay. But, VIP access, early, checking out the skybox, the whole business. So your boy's going to be there. Large and in charge at Slipknot tomorrow night. Oh, my goodness. Put on any of their recordings, and
it's pretty close. Okay.
It doesn't do it justice. It's even better live.
Okay. And that's why I was curious, because they seem like. Sorry, go ahead.
I would say it's like drinking a 12-pack of Red Bull. It just so much energy and so much, yeah. And you can't not move, and you're just supercharged. Just watching them, and that music pulsing through you. I'm gonna be bouncing off the walls like I've been all week, but that concert is gonna be amazing.
Well, you always wonder, like some bands like that sound is so tough. Like I wonder how they could recreate it live, but it sounds like they can do it. So that's that's good. So, all right. Well, that's what we got, and you'll definitely. Hopefully you survive it. Are you going in the pit, Greg? Your 47-year-old body going in the pit?
Hey,
I guess everywhere's the pit for.
You gotta get the pit,
though, isn't it? I was like, is there not
the pit? The Slipknot show is nothing to mess with.
I was like, yeah, that
enter at your own risk, but it is still fun. So, and I was there. I was in there for the last one. Last one I went to.
Okay.
But everybody who's in the pit, they're super respectful. They see somebody going down, they're lifting you up and
like helping them.
it's in brutality, but it's in fun also. So
That's good.
you know, they're a great crowd to mosh with. So
This
I
is
might
the
find my
last
way
time.
down there a couple times.
Yeah. The last time I was in a pit, I don't know if I was in it or not, but Dropkick Murphys, Greg. I don't know. Do you know that band? Dropkick Murphys?
Yeah.
Like from Boston. And like,
Yeah.
I mean, I was towards the front and like that first song hits and like you're this close. That first song hits and it's just like this the whole time. I'm like, I couldn't leave. So I mean, luckily it wasn't quite this circle type pit, but it was that bouncing against each other, like you're trying to like you can't move, you're just stuck. So that is the last show though that I can recall being anywhere like close to people, like really up closer to people. So yeah, I say my butt sits in pavilion seats at like big shows around here, Greg. So I can sit at sometimes and I can stand. But anyways, so all right. Well,
Nice.
Enough music talk. I would love to talk music all day because I love it. So, but we'll let you get going. Enjoy your weekend. Get caught up on AEW next week. Get Crown Jewel reaction and all that good stuff. So, and then we'll have the SmackDown moving forward, Raw moving forward with their new rosters, unless people move here and there. But we'll kind of get into it. So, thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your Saturday.